The man who tried to trap me in a supply closet used a broken printer as bait. It was finals week, that dead part of the semester where campus feels like an empty movie set. Lights on, nobody around. I procrastinated an essay, naturally, and my dorm printer picked that night to die. So I dragged myself across campus around midnight, hoodie over pajamas, to the one place I knew would still let me print without a fight, the grad lab on the third floor of the library annex. That floor always creeped me out. During the day, it's fine, just boring. At night, though, it feels wrong. The hallway hums, the vending machine buzzes, and every sound echoes like there's someone just out of sight. The grad lab door needed my student card to swipe in, and when it clicked open, I remember thinking, good, at least not just anyone can walk in here. That thought did not age well. Inside, every computer screen slept. No one, just the big multi-function copier against the wall, ready to be my hero. I plugged in my flash drive, sent the file, walked over, hit print. The machine word choked, then threw up some error code I'd never seen before. Red blinking light. Paper jam icon. My stomach sank. I stood there, half asleep, poking buttons. I opened every tray I knew about, pulled out a few loose sheets, closed everything again. The error stayed. I pulled out my phone to Google the error code, and that's when he appeared. He just filled the doorway like he'd grown out of it. Hoodie with the university logo, jeans, sneakers. A lanyard with a bunch of keys that clinked when he moved. No visible ID, no IT badge, just a hoodie. "Printer giving you trouble?" he said. I jumped, then laughed it off because I hate showing I'm scared. Yeah, it jammed or something. He walked right past me, way too close, like we already knew each other. He didn't ask, he just started opening panels, tugging at the trays I'd already checked. For a second I felt dumb, like maybe I'd missed something obvious. He moved quick, though, like he'd done it 100 times. He cleared the jam, or at least pretended to. Held up a crumpled piece of paper like he'd won something. Then he started talking. Asked what year I was, what dorm I lived in, if I ever stayed late like this. Normal small talk on paper, but his eyes never left my hands. Not my face, not the printer, my hands. He watched how close they were to the edge of the panel, how I shifted my weight, like he was planning something physical and needed measurements. I gave short answers. Junior, North Hall, sometimes. I kept my tone flat, hoping he'd take the hint. He didn't. He frowned at the machine like he cared deeply about its feelings. "Toner looks low," he said. "These things are a joke when the toner's low. Can you help me lift this side panel? It's heavy and awkward. Easier with two." I looked at the panel. I'd opened that exact thing earlier in the semester when it jammed, and it hadn't been heavy at all. Just a plastic door. "Seriously?" I said, half a laugh. "Yeah," he insisted. "They replaced it with some new part. Liability thing. Just grab that corner and I'll grab this one." I hesitated. This is the part that still pisses me off about myself. Every instinct in me nudged no. This is weird, say no. But the louder voice went, "Don't be rude. He's helping you. Don't act like a bitch." Years of be nice, training overrode the alarm bells. So I grabbed the panel. It wasn't heavy. It moved like cheap plastic, same as before. I lifted it anyway. As I did, he stepped behind me, close, his hip pressing the door inward a bit. I felt the exit disappear behind his body. The smell of his breath hit the side of my face, something stale and sweet. Then he let his side of the panel drop. On purpose. Just let go. It swung down toward my hands. I caught most of the weight automatically, more out of reflex than strength. My shoulders strained, my body lurched forward. For a second, I was pinned between the open machine and the air behind me where I knew he stood. "Careful," he said, but not in a worried way. More like he was amused. I twisted my head. The door behind us was now fully blocked by his body. His hand rested on the frame. Keys dangled from his fingers, brushing the metal. "More supplies in the back closet," he added, like it was nothing. "Toner, tools, all that stuff. I'll grab a new cartridge. You can help me with it. Those boxes are a pain." He nudged me with his free hand, right at the small of my back. Not hard, but firm. enough to move me a step toward the back of the room, where the tiny supply closet sat. I'd seen that door 100 times and never gone in. No window, no little glass panel, just a solid door tucked in a corner. My brain argued with itself on the walk over. Normal people don't do this, but maybe he's just awkward. But IT staff usually have badges. But he has keys. But why is he here this late? Why is he asking where I live? Why is he touching you? Every but stacked on the last one, wobbling, and I just kept moving because I didn't want to look dramatic. He opened the closet door with one hand, again without swiping any card, just twisted a key and pushed. Dark inside, no light yet. "Go ahead," he said. "Switch is on the right." That was the moment everything actually clicked. Not the shove, not the weird questions, the keys. Our IT department uses card readers for everything. They don't walk around jingling like a janitor in a horror movie. And when he'd come in, I hadn't heard the outside door beep from a swipe. I just heard the lab door open. Still, I stepped just over the threshold because I'm an idiot and conditioning is strong. My foot hit the linoleum inside. I reached for the wall with one hand, and in the corner of my eye, I saw his other hand come up, wrist turning, keys already lined up with the inside knob like he'd done this before. Not guessing. Practiced. My brain finally screamed nope. It didn't feel like a thought, more like someone yanked a fire alarm in my skull. I let go of the panel with both hands. I didn't just drop it. I shoved it back and down, dragging it across his foot. The edge slammed into his shoe and he yelped. At the same time, I threw my elbow straight back into where I guessed his ribs were. I'm not strong, but adrenaline makes you do wild things. I felt something soft give, heard air punch out of him. His keys clattered against the door. I didn't yell help. I'd read somewhere, some self-defense article, that people ignore help, but they move for fire. So my mouth just opened and I screamed, "Fire! Fire! Fire! Fire!" as loud as my throat could manage. It ripped my voice raw in one go. The sound bounced off the walls into the empty hall. He grabbed my arm, fingers digging in hard, hissing, "What the F is wrong with you? Stop it." I twisted, stomped backward, anything to get space. I didn't aim. My heel caught something tender and he swore again. The lab door flew open and two students rushed in, one guy in a hoodie with headphones still around his neck, one girl clutching her laptop to her chest. They looked half-woken, eyes wide, scanning for smoke. The man behind me jerked away like I'd burned him. She dropped the panel on my foot. He snapped like he was offended. "Jesus, I'm just trying to fix the printer." They both looked at me. I must have looked insane. Hair everywhere, eyes wet, chest heaving, standing in a dark doorway like I'd just seen a ghost. He tried a lock. I started, but my voice cracked and the words felt thin, flimsy, ridiculous in that bright, humming room. What did I even have? A creepy feeling? Keys? The girl put her laptop down and fussed over him, asking if he was okay, while he played it off, laughing, saying it was no big deal. Accidents happen. He wouldn't meet my eyes. By the time I grabbed my bag and flash drive, he'd already backed away, limping slightly, using the chaos as cover. 1 second he was there, the next the lab door clicked behind him and he was gone. I walked back to my dorm in this weird tunnel vision. Every sound behind me turned into his footsteps. Every door opening made me flinch. I locked my room twice, then dragged my desk chair in front of the door like that would stop a set of fucking keys. I didn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, rewinding and zooming in on details like a crime show. The way he watched my hands, the way he knew I'd be alone, the way he leaned on the door. Part of me still tried to gaslight myself. Maybe he really was IT. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe he just panicked when I screamed. Then I'd remember the closet, his hand with the keys already on the knob before I even reached for the light, and my stomach would flip. The next day, shaking from too much coffee and zero sleep, I sat down and emailed the campus IT department. I described him, height, hoodie, key ring, everything. I laid out the time, the lab, what he did with the panel, the closet, all of it. I even apologized in the email, which makes me sick now. I literally wrote, "Sorry if this is nothing," but it felt off. The reply came an hour later. Short, polite, corporate. They thanked me for my concern. Then they said their staff don't do after-hours calls. At all. Everything after 5 p.m. goes through a ticket system. And by the way, their techs don't have physical keys to that lab. Access is card only. I read that line 3 times. Then a 4th. I still have the email. Sometimes I open it like a scab I can't stop picking, just to remind myself I didn't imagine it. Whoever you were, you weren't there for the fucking toner. Let's not meet. The guy in my building counts women's steps on the stairs and writes the numbers on his arm. That sounds like something I'd read online and scroll past, but it's literally what I see every day. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not spicing it up. It's just my life now, I guess. Old walk up, no elevator. I started seeing him on the 2nd floor landing. Hood up, headphones on, always taking a break. At first I thought he was just one of those dudes who hangs around stairwells to vape and pretend he has somewhere to be. I come home with groceries, out of breath, and he'd be there, slouched against the wall like the building grew him there. The weird part didn't hit right away. I noticed the hoodie, the same faded black one every time. I noticed the way he never actually went up or down, just stayed parked between floors like a glitch. But every time a woman walked past, he'd tap his fingers on his thigh in this steady rhythm. Not to a beat, not to a song, just this dry, metronome kind of tapping. No eye contact, nothing. At first I thought, okay, creeper but harmless. I started carrying my keys like little knives anyway. New city, old building, you learn fast. Then after a few weeks, I realized I never saw him with earbuds dangling. The headphones always sat clamped on his ears like props. One day, I slowed down and realized he wasn't listening to music at all. No sound leaked from his headphones. No faint bass, no tinny hiss when I passed close. He just watched our feet and mouthed numbers. He didn't look at faces, didn't stare at asses, nothing like that. His eyes dropped straight to shoes. Sneakers, heels, boots. He tracked them like you track a bug on the wall. Going up, 1, 2, 3, under his breath. I could see his lips move as my foot hit each step like he timed my weight. Going down, backwards, 10, 9, 8, like he'd memorized the total already. Like he knew the staircase better than the people who built it. Once I stopped mid-flight, pretended to dig in my bag so I could watch him. He didn't break pace. My foot hovered over the step and his mouth paused, then waited, then picked up the count the second I moved again. It pissed me off how automatic it felt, like I existed to keep his count tidy. I started testing him. Petty shit. I'd skip a step on purpose, or take 2 at a time, or pause halfway. He always adjusted. Lips stuttered, then smoothed out like he was doing math in his head. His fingers tapped faster when I messed up his rhythm. I caught a glimpse of his forearm once. He shifted, sleeve rode back, and I saw it, dozens of little columns of numbers in pen, groups circled, some crossed out. Not doodles, columns like a ledger. Next to a set that matched my floor, he'd written my apartment number. I have no idea how he got that. You know that feeling when your stomach drops, but you're still moving? That. I kept climbing, key in my hand, brain doing that stupid thing where it tries to rationalize while your body screams. Maybe he saw it on a package. Maybe he heard the super say it once. Maybe. The numbers bother me more than anything. Whole columns of them, tiny and careful, like he didn't want to waste skin. Some sets had names next to them, or parts of names. Red coat, big bag, Tuesday only. A couple had dates. 2 were circled so hard the ink dug into the skin. One had a line through it. I started timing my schedule around him. I'd linger in my apartment until I thought he might be gone, then open the door and listen. If the building felt too quiet, I'd wait. Quiet meant he was probably there, sitting like a trap between floors. When I did have to leave, I'd walk heavy, like I could stomp through his little system. I told myself I was overreacting. I probably had some weird OCD thing, right? Counting, tapping, whatever. My brain tried to file it under quirky mental illness so I could sleep. Then one night around 10, I heard a thud on the stairs, a real one, the kind that makes your teeth clench. Not someone dropping a book, body weight. Then this soft, panicked whimper. I opened my door crack. The sound came from below, on his landing. I heard his voice calm, too calm. "You missed it. I told you." Step 9. The whimper turned into this shaky crying. Another woman's voice, young, apologizing like it was her fault stairs existed. I didn't go out. That's the part 1, keep replaying. I just stood there with my hand on the knob, listening like a coward while he explained the stairs to her in this flat tone, like he was teaching a class. A minute later, I heard footsteps, uneven, going back down. Then nothing. Next morning, no police, no ambulance, nothing in the group chat. Either she walked it off or went to the hospital on her own. I checked his landing on the way to work. He sat there, same hoodie, same headphones, no expression. Pin tucked behind his ear, new ink on his arm. One of the old circles had a line scratched through it. That's when I stopped pretending it was harmless. I confronted him in the nicest way I could manage. My voice still shook anyway. I asked if he needed something, try to keep it neutral, try not to sound scared. I think I wanted him to say he was just bored, that it was nothing, that I was crazy. He looked straight through me, slid his eyes down on my sneakers, then back up like he was checking a box. Said, "You always miss step 9. That's dangerous." Then smiled like he'd paid me a compliment. Like he noticed my new haircut or some shit. The way he said always hit harder than anything. Always meant he'd watch me every single time. Every rushed morning, every late night run for food, every drunk stumble up the stairs while I thought I was alone. He logged them like data. I told the super. He shrugged, said, "Guy pays rent," like that solved it. Said if he wasn't touching anyone, it wasn't his problem. I wanted to scream at him that writing women's apartment numbers on your skin should count as touching, but I just nodded and left because I suddenly didn't trust my own voice. I thought about going to the police, but what would I even say? Hi, there's a dude in my building who counts steps and looks at shoes. They'd tell me to get a camera if I was so worried, and I didn't want his attention any more locked on me than it already was. So I did the stupid thing. I kept living there. I adjusted. I changed shoes to see if he'd still recognize me. He did. One time I tried going up super slow, deliberately stepping on every single stair. I heard him whispering along, soft and pleased, like I'd finally performed correctly. I started dreaming about stairs. Not metaphorically. Actual concrete stairs, worn smooth in the middle from feet. I'd dream I was climbing them and my legs would lock up at step 9, like someone had welded my joints. I'd wake up with my calves cramping and my heart pounding. Sometimes when other women go past him, I listen from my floor. I hear the tap, tap, tap of his fingers, and I hate myself for counting along. I know who lives where now, just from the pattern. The girl with the groceries who always rushes, the woman with the heels who clips each edge, the kid's mom who drags tired feet. He's turned all of us into rows on his arm. He's never touched anyone, never blocked the stairs. That's what I tell myself when my key shakes in the lock and I feel stupid for being scared of guys sitting down. But now every time I climb past him, I feel like a lab rat hitting the same rung while someone times how long it will take me to fall. I realized someone had been inside my house for weeks because my freezer meals came back cooked. Saying that out loud still makes me feel crazy, but this is exactly how it went. I work hospital doubles, 12, 14 hours, and I'm too wiped to cook after. So Sundays I batch everything. Lasagna, soups, stews. I label every container with a Sharpie, date, portion, and shove them into the chest freezer in the garage in neat rows like Tetris pieces. That's my one organized thing. So this one Tuesday, I'm half awake, already late. I run into the garage, flip the freezer lid, grab a lasagna tray. It's rock solid, frost on the lid. I toss in my bag, drive to work, throw it straight into the staff fridge. I don't cook it, don't thaw it. At lunch, I peel the lid off and just stop. The cheese on top isn't pale and flat like raw. It's bubbled, brown in spots, then sunk back down. The edges are dry and dark, the middle's still icy. It looks like someone half-baked it, and then froze it again. My first thought is, okay, I screwed up a batch on Sunday. I argue with myself for the whole break, then pitch it in the trash and eat chips. I try to let it go. 2 days later, I grab soup. Same routine. Frozen solid at home, work fridge, lunch. I open it and feel my stomach drop. There's an ice ring around the inside like it refroze, but the center is slushy, not solid. When I stir it, I see a groove like someone dragged a spoon through the top and then stuck it back in the freezer. Not an air bubble, an actual scoop mark. I stare at that stupid line in the soup and my skin crawls. I sniff it and it smells fine, but all I can think is somebody's mouth was on this. I toss it. That night, I can't stop replaying it. I run through every theory. Freezer malfunction? I'm mixing up containers? Maybe I cooked those and forgot? But I remember labeling them raw. I remember the Sunday routine, the exact motions. I'm not that tired. I start noticing other tiny things too. A dish towel folded away, I don't fold it. Toothbrush at a different angle. Garage light switch flipped up when I always slap it down. Little details you'd never clock if you weren't already freaked out. I tell myself I'm paranoid, but my heart doesn't buy it. So that weekend, I do this petty little experiment. I line all my meals on the counter and pull out a long hair for each one. I lay the hair across the rim, then snap the lid down so the hair gets pinched in the seal. I take photos of every container, the lid, the hair, how it sits in the freezer. I know exactly how it all looks. Then I shut the lid and walk away like I didn't just booby-trap my own food. By Wednesday, 3 hairs are gone. Not fallen off, gone. The lids on those 3 sit rotated, not in the same position as the pictures. One whole container is at a different angle. I swear I feel my stomach drop straight through my feet. I'm the only one with a key. No roommates, no partner, no spare under the mat. My parents live hours away. Nobody should be in that garage but me. I pull up my front door camera. Nothing, just me. Amazon packages, boring garbage. Back door cam, same thing. I'm scrolling through footage on my couch, shaking, and suddenly I remember the keypad on the garage door. The cheap one my landlord put in for convenience, with the default code 1-2-3- for he never changed. I realize anyone who's watched me a few times probably knows my schedule and that code. And my landlord definitely does. The guy has walked in without notice before, using his master key, with some bullshit excuse about smoke detectors or filters. I always felt weird, but I told myself that's just how landlords are. Now, my brain starts connecting dots I don't want it to. I buy a cheap Wi-Fi camera that same day and mount it in the garage facing the freezer. I test it a few times, watch myself open the lid, and my stomach flips seeing myself on screen in that space. That night, I lie in bed fully dressed, phone in my hand, waiting for nothing and dreading something. Around 2 in the morning, the alert pops up, motion detected garage. My heart slams so hard my chest hurts. I open the app and there it is, grainy night vision, my own garage, and the side door swinging open like it belongs to him. My landlord steps in. Hoodie, cargo shorts, socks, and sandals like always. He doesn't creep. He doesn't even look around. He walks straight to the keypad, taps 1-2-3-4 without hesitation, pops the garage door fully, then goes right to my freezer like he's done this 100 times. He opens the lid, leans over, and starts pulling out containers. I hear him on the audio exhale this happy little sigh. He squints at a label, smirks, sets the one aside, opens another. He's got a fucking spoon in his pocket, like he planned a tasting flight. He dips into the first container, takes a slow bite, licks the spoon, tries another. He puts them back, keeps one, and then I hear him laugh. On the video, you can hear him clear as day. She'll never notice. Like it's a joke between us. Like we're in on it together. My hands shake so bad I almost drop the phone. I feel this sharp, nauseous rage under the fear. I watch him close the lid, put everything almost exactly back where it was, wipe his mouth with the back of his hand, and stroll out like he just raided his own fridge. Total time, under 2 minutes. That's not a one-time impulse. That's a routine. I don't sleep at all. When the sun finally drags itself up, I save the video 6 different ways and go to the police station. I sit there in stiff plastic chairs, play the video for the officer, explain that this man has been coming in at 2 a.m., that he has keys, that I live alone. The cop watches, nods like he's watching a mildly interesting YouTube clip, and says, "Yeah, that looks like a civil issue. He's your landlord. He has access. Just ask him not to do that or move out. We can't really charge him for eating your food." I just stare at him. This isn't about fucking leftovers. This is my house, my bed, my body in a place where this man can walk in whenever he wants. The cop shrugs and prints some tenant rights pamphlet that might as well say good luck. I walk out shaking with this useless anger burning under my skin. I think about confronting my landlord, showing him the video, threatening to blast it everywhere. But that thought comes with another. He'd know I know, and he clearly doesn't care about boundaries to begin with. That kind of man, cornered, feels worse than one who thinks you're clueless. So I go home, call in sick, and start throwing my life into boxes. I move out in 2 days. I leave furniture behind, leave the chest freezer propped open so everything inside rots. I change addresses, block his number, and in the new apartment, I tell the manager, point blank, no one enters my place unless I'm there. I double lock everything. I still meal prep because my schedule sucks and my body expects it, but something in me broke around food after that. I don't see neat little boxes anymore. I see his hand reaching in, his mouth wrapping around my spoon. Even in the new place, with new locks and no keypad, my thumb hesitates on the microwave button. I stand there watching my food spin, waiting until it's way too hot, until the container warps a little and steam blasts my face when I open it. I still microwave my food too hot, just in case someone else's mouth has been there first.